Mummy's baby.
So today I want to talk simulators, but first I'm hungry, so I'm going to have some breakfast and then we'll get into it. So today is all about me telling you about my simulator, where I got it from, how much it costs, and I will tell you the websites I bought it from, the people I bought stuff from, and exactly what you will need to get a simulator at a fraction of the cost of some of the other places that you can buy it from. We're back, and today I'm going to show you and tell you exactly how I built my simulator, how much it cost, where I got everything from, and what systems I use, computers, launch monitors, absolutely everything. So you can build a simulator and possibly save yourself a lot of money compared to some of the pre-bought, prefabricated simulators that you can buy out there. So let's jump in and let me show you everything I used to build my simulator. The first thing we'll talk about is the poles that I use. So I got these poles from the metal store, and I will put up a picture of the invoice that I paid. But in total, I paid £137.33 for every piece of metal, every bracket, and the key used to put it all together. This is a 3 meter high by 3 meter wide simulator, and from front to back it comes out 1.5 meters. Well, it's actually, with the brackets, probably more like 1.6. So for every piece of metal for the framework I paid £137.33, and that's everything you need to start the framework of your simulator. Okay, the next thing is the actual surround itself. So the surround on my sim consists of the screen, and then I've got black nylon sides, and then as you've seen when I showed you the poles, I've got netting going all the way around it and all the way above the top. So it's protected by netting should the ball go through the screen or go through the nylon or go through the sides. The netting itself, for the whole netting around, costs £205. The impact screen, and I've got a 4 meter by 3 meter screen, so I can move it if a certain patch gets a little bit worn. That was £330, and then the nylon that goes all the way around the top and then is used in the sides here to protect the poles, because the last thing you want to do is have a ball hit this pole here and it will ricochet out. So I've got nylon on the sides as well to stop any impact, and that was £130. So for the poles, the net, the nylon and the screen, that was a total cost of £790. So for £790 you can have this screen to hit into, which is a damn sight cheaper than some places that are charging like 1,200 quid upwards. So you can have this set up for £790. Now in the corners, let's take this back, you obviously have the pole here. And like I said in the last bit, the last thing you want is the ball coming in, hitting this pole, because it will ricochet off and cause copious amounts of damage if it hits you in the face. So with the nylon, I cut a little section off here, and then using, I've just picked it off, but using high grade Velcro, you just stick it between here and here, and that causes that causes the tension that you need. So if a ball hits it, it won't hit the pole and ricochet back, and that is done all the way up the sides and all the way across the top. So one, you don't see the pole, and two, it will protect you from any ricochet. The other thing that the top one does is it catches the ball. So if you hit a wedge and you hit it to like lofted and it goes up in the air, rather than going behind the screen, it will hit the canopy and just drop down. The actual screen itself is all held on by bungee ropes and tarpaulin clips, and that's the same with the nylon on the sides. It's all held on with bungee ropes and tarpaulin clips. I'll leave links down below to where I got them things from, so you can do it. Probably add in about another 10 to 15 quid on it. So I suppose in total the amount it will cost for this setup is in the region of about £800. So that gives you the complete enclosure for £800. So above me you'd have seen, I've just shown you a video of the projector. That's probably one of the most expensive parts. The projector cost me £585, and it is an Acer 3000 lumens projector. Now, when you're buying a projector, you've got to be really careful that it has the right aspect ratio for the screen size that you're doing. So if you're doing 4 meters wide by 3 meters high, you need to make sure the aspect ratio can go to 4:3, so it's got the wide angle line side. Same if you're doing a square, it needs to be able to do it in that aspect ratio. And the lumens go up and that's the brightness of the projection onto the screen. 3000 is good enough for me in here, but obviously the more lumens you go up, the more expensive it is. So the projector is quite expensive, so you have to take that into account if you intend to project onto the screen. And the better image, the more high density image and the better brightness you get will cost you more money. So mine cost me £585. So at the moment I'm at what, £1,385, and I've got a projector and I've got the actual simulator itself to hit into. But now I suppose I need a mat to hit off. And here is that mat. So it's got 2 stages to it. The first bit is the hitting section, as you'll see here. This is slightly better and better quality and more hard wearing than this section here, which is the section that I stand on. This will get worn away a lot quicker. So this is actually glued down onto the concrete floor. I cut out the carpet and put this in. So the mat that you've just seen I got from somewhere called Amtech Range, and the total cost for the mat, this is a combi system, and I bought the plastic surround that you see at driving ranges. In essence, I didn't need that, so I've overspent here because I've spent on something I didn't need. But the total cost of the mat was £302.76, including shipping and VAT. So now I'm up somewhere around £1,600, and now I can effectively hit golf balls off the mat into there and have it projected, but I've got nothing to project yet. So let's go down to the launch monitor. So the system that I use is SkyTrack, and the reason I use that is for 2 reasons. One, it was cheaper than GC Quad and TrackMan at £25,000 to £30,000. Couldn't afford that in any way, shape or form in a startup business, so I use SkyTrack, and I bought it from Online Golf. And the reason I bought it from there, and I'll leave a link in the description to it there. One, it was £1,879, and 2, they offered finance. So I financed that in January last year, and it was a 12-month finance, and that cleared in January this year, so now I own the product. But for an indoor launch monitor for at home or even for commercial use, it is perfect. It does have its flaws. Sometimes it doesn't always register the shot, but you know that happens rarely, and sometimes it's just a bit of dust on the actual sensor itself that you just need to wipe off. So the launch monitor I use is SkyTrack, and that was £1,800. So now I suppose we're somewhere around £3,500 if my maths is anywhere near close. So £3,500. I've now got my launch monitor, my simulator and my mat, and that is all you need, and an iPad, is because you can buy a dongle for the iPad to HDMI, and that will project what's on the SkyTrack to your projector, because the SkyTrack works wirelessly with the iPad. So you can see everything on the iPad. It will project through your HDMI cable and it will go onto the screen. So that is everything that you need to have a home simulator for about £3,500. That is just as good as some of the other SkyTrack options that are going to try and charge you £6,000 to £7,000 to come in, install it. this works perfectly for me on a commercial use, so for at home, it's fabulous. So everything that you've seen in the simulator, the netting, the screen, the projector, and the nylon, I all got from one place, and that's a guy called Philip Stewart, and he's got a YouTube channel called Hybrid Me, and on that channel he shows you how to build a simulator pretty much like mine. That's where I found him, was on YouTube. I contacted him and he supplied everything I needed to do this simulator. Now, if you want to be able to play golf simulator games on it, like the Golf Club 2019, I think it's called, then you're going to need a PC and you're going to need quite a high-end, powerful gaming PC to run it, because the software takes up a lot of processing speed. So I went on Facebook Marketplace, found a guy local to me and paid £500 for the computer, which I think is a bargain considering the spec I've got. Don't ask me what the spec is, no idea. And then just a £100 monitor, just so I can use it as a computer and see. And then the HDMI cable and the SkyTrack all plug into the computer. And I've now got myself a game that I can play indoors. Now, I will caveat that the game itself, when I bought it in June last year, it was £480 for a year's license. I think if you wanted to purchase it outright, you were looking at £800 to £900. So I bought the year's license because no doubt this year a better version will come out, or something else will come out that will rival it. So you've got to add that into the equation, because SkyTrack doesn't come with any gaming software built in with it. And the game improvement add-on that you need for SkyTrack to be able to then purchase the Golf Club 2019 is £90 on top, but that does give you access to bag mapping, challenges, target practice, wedge matrices. So the £90 is worth it. Whether you then want to go on and get the game is completely up to you and down to what money you've got. So there it is behind me. That's my simulator, and in total probably somewhere around about £5,000 for the software and everything you need. But you can see there, as I've gone through it, you can break that down to your needs and lower the cost. But for a DIY, and it took me a couple of hours to put together, the screen isn't that hard to put up. You just use bungee ropes and tarp clips all the way up and all the way across. And then at the bottom, I roll it up to protect the bottom framework, the metal pole going across the bottom. So if I thin one, which I often do, it won't hit that pole and then fling off. It will still hit the screen. If you put it underneath and pull it tight, then you're risking thinning it into the pole and it coming up. So just bear that in mind, unless you're going to put something in the way to stop that from happening. But like I've said, if you want to look at homemade simulators, go check out Philip Stewart on a YouTube channel called Hybrid Me. And he's always changing his, he's always upgrading it and always coming up with new ideas to protect poles and things like that. So there's an alternative to going out there and buying the pre-made ones from these websites that obviously hike the price up, and especially at the minute with everybody wanting an indoor simulator or an outdoor simulator or something like that, look at buying the stuff in yourself and building it yourself. It is probably no different to the stuff that you're going to get from these companies. The screen I've got is a really, really good quality screen and projects HD really well for £300, and I got 4 meters by 3 meters of it. So just shop around before you go and buy the pre-made versions. Now, the important thing to remember when you're building a simulator at home, and I forgot to mention whilst I was down at the shop, is space. Space is really important. You need to ensure you've got the right amount of space to use. So as an example, my simulator is 3 meters wide and it's about 3.2 meters high by the time you take into the brackets and everything else. My ceiling height is 3.6 meters. And that is to ensure that when you do a follow-through swing with the driver, especially if you've got a high follow-through, you're going to need that space, otherwise you're just going to completely hit the roof with your driver. The other thing to take into account is the poles. The poles are 1.6 meters away from the screen. Now, if I go closer to the screen, I've got more chance of hitting the top pole and more chance of hitting the pole on the left. So my actual mat is 2.5 meters away from the screen. And that is enough space for me to be able to swing a driver and anyone else I've really had in the simulator, to swing a driver to be able to clear both the ceiling and the pole. So you have to take that into account. And I've also got 2 meters that way behind me, so when I do a swing out with the driver, I'm not going to hit the back wall. So these are all things you need to take into account when you're thinking if you've got the space to be in order to put a simulator at home. I needed 4.5 meters from front to back, 3.6 meters high, and about 4 meters wide, because you will swing outside of the simulator on the left or right if you're left-handed. So take that into account when you're thinking of your simulator. Before you buy anything, look at the space you've got.